Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. We're a little late today. It's Tuesday, March 24th, but we're still your place for helpful news, commentary, and answers to your crypto questions.
And remember, it's Matt's fault.
Yeah, this is Matt's fault.
When all else fails, blame the intern.
Exactly. What are they there for?
Today on the show, we were...
I think they're that. Yeah, right, exactly. Scapegoat. You misspelled intern. No.
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 He's texting us live from backstage. He says, "I'm seeing movement in the microphone bar, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna trial by fire him." Matt, you've got 3 seconds to say something.
Okay, hello.
Amazing.
Yes, yes.
Now the real
so
question
thrilled.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just do that in the first place?
Yeah. You're right. I just, oh my gosh, just want to delay the show. That's all. Want to be annoying.
What was the solution?
I don't know. I mean, I the top left bar, like, I had to like switch something in microphone for whatever reason. Like the second time after I like restarted my computer, it allowed it to switch to AirPod. Whatever. I don't know. I'm just glad it's working now.
Huzzah.
Hooray.
Amazing. We are thrilled to welcome back to the show our social and research intern. Of course, I'm talking about Mr. Matthew Wiley, freshly back from Europe. And let me remind you, this is a...
Wait, hold on. What? Okay, so the TikTok audio is going to be a...
Don't
Can I be muted?
Yeah, you need to be muted. This is... it sounded like...
Please tell me everybody heard that.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Delightful microphone sound.
Muted on TikTok for
The
sure.
shot goes, baby dolphins screaming.
It sounded like a balloon, exactly that. Just losing air slowly.
I hope that was a balloon.
We work at the bleeding edge of tech, but we are crypto curious. We are not really experts in other areas of internet technology.
Anyway, let us financially advise you. So let's get into it.
Yes.
Let's get into it. Matthew, welcome back to the show. How was your time abroad?
Oh man, it was great. Experience of a lifetime. It was my first time traveling solo, and I went to Spain. I don't speak Spanish at all, so a lot of navigating, a lot of figuring things out. Stayed in a hostel for the first time, so that was interesting. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Loved it, and just got back at like 9 p.m. last night or something. So been a lot of traveling, but great way to spend my senior year spring break for sure.
Yeah, man. Why did you choose to go? What was that? What was like you went to? It was just Spain, yeah, like all around Spain. I said just Spain.
Yeah, I was in kind of like the Andalusia region, so like in South Spain. I was in 3 of the different cities is where I stayed. But yeah, I don't know. I did it just because I was just thinking of like ways to kind of like push myself to grow personally. And I feel like when I put myself in uncomfortable situations, that's kind of how I do it. And what better way than going to a country by yourself when you've never done that before in a language you don't speak. So
yeah, no, dude, it's a ton of fun to do that kind of thing. And like, solo traveling is obviously intimidating. And some people are like, I don't want to travel alone. I want someone there. But like, I've traveled alone a few times, and like I always end up having like great conversations with people at bars, like force you to be more social. It is a good time so long as you can do it in a safe and affordable way. But dude, that's a great experience. Any Spanish that you picked up?
¿Cómo se dice? I don't know.
There you go. ¿Cómo se dice library? Biblioteca.
Yeah, ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? Yeah, I mean, I took 3 years of Spanish in high school, if that means anything, but not really. So, I don't know. I met a lot more people than I thought it would. I was like, all right, I'm doing this solo. It's going to be 10 weeks by myself. Not 10 weeks, 10 days. But most of the days I was like hanging out with people I met, which I was kind of surprised, but it was really cool. So
nice, dude. Well, sounds like a great experience.
Yeah, man, we're really glad you made it back. Glad for the cultural enrichment and excited for you to come talk to us today. We've got some stories to cover. Of course, we want to answer your crypto questions like, guys, how do I know what network to use to transfer my crypto to my cold wallet? A great question. We've got a little news to cover and, of course, your homework to get to. We gave Matthew homework last time, and he's got an update for us on the Masari report. And I also know he's going to talk to us about the Katana TGE and the news that has happened in the wake of that. But I feel like maybe as the questions roll in, the best place to start would be with the question I read. And then, Alex, can you, I have a little screen share about that wild news from yesterday.
Oh, the crime?
The crime. Yeah.
Correct.
So let me just give you that indicator to say, or that, you know what I'm trying to say. Words are hard, man. We've troubleshooted a problem already. What could go wrong? If you were trying to send crypto for the first time, maybe the second time, but you are using a wallet and that is new to you, you're going to run into this problem that crypto tokens can live on different networks. Matthew, I wonder, has this happened to you? Have you used a central exchange and discovered as you were sending something to a wallet that it lived on multiple networks? And do you remember what the experience was like, what the tokens were, that kind of thing?
Yeah, it was. It was more towards when I first started because I have not used a centralized exchange for, I guess, buying crypto in a while. But I want to say it started with well, not started, but one of the examples I can think of was buying Aerodrome, I think it was, or whatever, and trying to buying it on Coinbase and then sending it over to trying to send it over to the Coinbase wallet, and because it lived on Ethereum and on Base. So it was trying to get me to send it over, which network to choose. I'm like, well, what does this mean? I don't does it matter? So remember that.
Yes. And do you know what the solution is?
I mean, other than what, figuring out which network it is that you want to be on?
That's exactly the solution. How would you go about it? I'm just putting you on the spot because
I mean, it depends a lot of what you're wanting to do with it. For example, when I did it, I was I was wanting to sell, which now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know why I didn't just do that on Coinbase. I think it was because of the fees on Coinbase associated with selling.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, if I can do this on a wallet, apparently it's cheaper for fees. So choosing between Base and Ethereum, I found out eventually that, okay, mainnet Ethereum, the gas fees are higher than on Base. So that's when I would choose to send it with the Base network, which I'm pretty sure I ended up doing. Yeah. So an example like that would just be finding which network is the cheapest, which I don't think they directly show you on Coinbase, but yeah, that would be the solution.
Well, user, I tried to get at you in a comment, but I'll say it out loud. Let us know where your crypto is now, where you access it now, if it's on Coinbase or Kraken or something like that, and where you're trying to send it, because unfortunately, the departure and destination port matter a lot, because every wallet exchange interface, even though they're mostly the same, they all have these tiny little differences. And what you'll need to do is first, you will need to see what network options the place it lives now has for you to send it. If you're trying to send something like XRP, for example, I saw you say XRP and XLM are easy. ICP and Chainlink, not so much. I'm holding it on Uphold. I'm trying to send it to Arculus. Have you guys ever tried to send crypto from Uphold?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Let me educate you a little bit.
Probably should.
It's Uphold is frustrating. They have a lot of limits on what you can or can't withdraw on their platform. They're a lot like Robinhood or Revolut. And sometimes you will experience this. Not every asset can even be withdrawn to an external wallet. Some can only be bought and sold inside the platform for price exposure. Uphold refers to these as tier 4 assets. You can find this information on their website. This includes many different tokens, but like XDC is one I've seen people talk about before. HBAR is one I've seen people talk about before. You can buy them, sell them, hold them. You can't send them to your own wallet. And they may have updated this. They must have done it with XRP since you said you sent that, because it used to be that one could not be transferred from Uphold's platform. So check by going to the assets page, open up your ICP, your Chainlink, look for send to wallet. And then it should, if it's sendable, show you a list of networks that it's supported on. If it doesn't, or you don't even see the send button, it's not withdrawable. You'll just have to sell that balance, transfer the money, and then buy it on another exchange in order to send it. The exchanges we recommend are crypto native. Coinbase, Kraken, Binance. They come with terms and conditions, but they're generally more flexible than others. So let us know about that. And then from your Arculus wallet, you'll need to see on the receive side, when you press the receive button, it will tell you under that asset, only send assets on this network to this address, or just like Uphold, it'll say, which network do you want to send these tokens on? And then what I'll tell you, user, is because you're going to need some follow-up help with it, the next place you need to go, what you need to remember right now is community.rumshq.com. That is the best place to get our continued help and follow up with an issue like this. It's a safe place to ask a question, share a screenshot, or get a second opinion as you work on this problem. We'd expect an update when we see you there. Community.rumshq.com. Totally free to join. The only thing missing is you. Anything else to add, fellas?
Question: where is Uphold based?
The UK? No, I think that's Revolut. Let's find out. Alex, is that you? Uphold based where? Race me.
Oh, they're in New York. That's why it's a problem.
Oh, man.
That's why it sucks.
Lame.
For those of you who are unaware, I don't know all the details. I think Evan and Alex will, but like New York State has had incredibly strict restrictions on what you can or can't do as a cryptocurrency investor and as a crypto company. It's getting better, but it's still pretty restrictive.
Yeah, they're registered as a money service business, which is different from like a bank or a brokerage like Fidelity. And that's part of why some assets have limited functionality. And the features differ by region. So depending on where you are, it might change. This is just one of the wonderful things about getting into crypto, and a reminder that you're pretty early still. So take your time and figure it out.
Well, especially if you have prices continuing to fall, if the stock market's going to keep falling, crypto's going to keep falling too. You're so early, you might be able to buy 2018, 2017 levels of these cryptocurrency prices. So that's how early you are. This downtrend in the market could all give us 2017 buy opportunities again.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Don't tease me.
I am telling you there's a legitimate chance. I think there's a correction in the stock market worth anywhere between an additional 5% to 18, 19%. So I'm not going to look at.
So you're telling me that I might get HyperLiquid under $20?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You might. I mean, honestly, if I was talking about this last night with Doug, if HyperLiquid's below $30, I'm buying some every day. Buying some every day.
Yeah, I saw ETH and Bitcoin and when Bitcoin went down to 67,000, 48 hours ago, and ETH went to 2,000. I was like, ooh, might be a buyer. But I was like, no. I was like,
no,
too expensive. I chose to believe what Trump said about it's gonna get worse, much worse before it gets better. And hopefully I'm not a sucker for that. And hopefully we get our HyperLiquid.
That might have been the one thing he said that was true.
Yeah, right.
I feel like ETH's been sitting at 2K for a while. It seems like
it was at 2.3 the other day, 2.35, $2,350. I sold some then. I'm trying to buy back in lower. You know what I'm saying?
I recently swung trade some positions that were low. They were down higher. Swung trade, got again, swung trade again, and I was like, these are almost back to in profit. One beautiful. It made me think of Alex, and therefore made me think of Linda, the greatest trader in the world. His mom.
I still need to send on my board for
Linda.
Speaking of buying low, selling high, Alex, you want to tell us about some criminal activity that's going on in the world related to crypto? Did I lose it?
Yeah.
Alex is frozen.
Alex, yeah, I don't see him.
I was like, damn, he is committed to this bit.
I was like, yeah, he's just frozen right here.
He's
didn't respond at all to Linda.
He's not frozen on TikTok though.
I'm back.
Oh, nice.
I'm back.
Outer space. Welcome back.
For the record, so far, I hate Restream.
Yeah, so far, Restream, we're giving it a big gwump. We'll be back. We'll be back to StreamYard if it keeps up. The one thing I really do like about StreamYard or Restream is the little QR codes, though. So we'll put the QR code later.
That's the best thing about it. Everything else is a little bit worse.
Okay, Alex, crime season. We had some big news about a novel trade last night that definitely affects the market.
Several.
You want to tell folks about it? Several trades? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's more than one.
Okay.
I guess technically we're going to talk about
Brace
a couple
yourselves.
of trades. There's
Okay.
two of them. This probably won't really surprise anybody who's been paying attention, but every time there's a monumental impending announcement in either direction that is either going to encourage or dismay people, you can count on this administration to say something to make it ambiguous up front so that there's a chance to manipulate the market on the back end. And we just saw that yet again. So the announcements yesterday regarding the expiration of this arbitrary 48-hour deadline, that's what I mean, by the way. You take like an arbitrary amount of time, slap an ultimatum on something, and then kind of dangle a potential carrot or stick answer to the theoretical outcome of this hypothetical arbitrary deadline that doesn't mean anything. That way it can go either direction. You can declare a victory, or you can declare that you are going to ramp it up because someone failed you. And as long as you're setting all the rules, you can literally do and say whatever you want. So yesterday, approximately 15 minutes before these announcements went out, 1.5 billion with a B dollars worth of S&P 500 futures were purchased by someone. It's the biggest single purchase. It was at one time. 1.5 billion in one shot. At the same time, $192 million worth of oil futures were sold. And, notably, that was also a very good move. It's estimated right now that the individual or individuals who did this profited somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 million, but that number is still under a little bit of debate. It's tremendous. The amount of time before the announcement that this happened implies, I think any reasonable human could infer that this was somebody in the room, someone with extremely intimate knowledge of exactly what was about to happen. The timing was unbelievable, and the amounts being sold and purchased to profit off of whatever is happening is growing every single time. It's just continuing to skyrocket. Notably, this doesn't surprise me. I don't think anyone should really be surprised that crime season is continuing and that this particular administration is continuing to enrich themselves. But at the same time, it's worth noting that the SEC is completely silent, or the opposite of silent, and are enabling this. I'd like to know where the hell they are. This seems like a thing that kind of falls into that whole world of investor protections that they're always rambling about, why they need to step on everybody's toes all the time to protect the investor. Well, we are getting robbed blind every day, and they're doing absolutely nothing. In fact, they're doing less than nothing because notably last Monday, the 17th of March, Margaret Ryan resigned from the SEC. She was director in the enforcement division. And she didn't state this in her resignation letter, but she had been pushing for more aggressive investigations and enforcement actions against fraud, corruption, and misconduct, particularly inside the government. And notably, that's not happening. Paul Atkins is protecting them for some reason. I'm assuming because he's on the take, although, that's just speculation. So Paul, prove me wrong. And then also on the same side, Congress is completely silent. So I'm yet again trying to figure out why we're paying them, and why they get so many benefits and why they all still have jobs. Because holy shit, what do you guys do for a living?
They help each other, and they lie to the people and make us believe that they're fighting for us.
Here's the thing. For a very long time, the United States engaged in diet corruption, wherein it was like enough to be skimming and stealing from us, and basically not solving problems in the perfect order to make sure that the people who are elected to office are able to continually profit, whatever. And we turned that shit up to 11, and now they're like just a deer in the headlights and trying to squeeze as much as possible. I don't know exactly what the reasoning is. get as much as you can, I guess, before it all comes burning down, and then hopefully you can escape to the bunker. But yeah, I'm I don't know. I'm kind of beside myself. It's just like it truly boggles the mind that this is where we're at. It's so flagrant. It is so in your face. And there's absolutely nothing being done about it.
We need every single person that is currently at the federal level of government, at the very least, to just be replaced. Just I know there are some good ones out there, but just a clean wipe across the board.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful in spirit, but could you imagine? I think it's just a sign that the machine it's a broken thing. It relies so much on people with bad incentives. Incentives are everything, and I just don't think there are good incentives for people in government these days at that level. I don't know. I can't believe that they're all corrupt.
Or there should be like good punishments again, you know, like some consequence, like the benefits and the temptation can be there, but if they're balanced out by consequences, but when you remove the consequences, then the natural incentive of humanity is to go towards what is in this case, financial benefit, right? And so the consequences have been removed, and at some point there is a correction. With all things, there's a correction. The pendulum always swings. It's just, what is the opposite of, oh, the elites are taking advantage of the people? That swing back historically is not a pretty swing. It's not a pretty swing. And so it's like, that's the thing that I'm looking at. It's just like, we're over here and that thing is going to swing over and you're going to have a lot of people doing some things.
Yeah, I agree. It's like Leif said it in the comments. It worked. The system worked as intended.
Yeah. Violence is not the answer to any problem. Opens up history book. Oh God.
But a tarring and feathering, though brutal, might be effective. Yeah.
Oh God.
I'd be more of a fan of bringing back keel hauling.
Good God, yeah.
I've heard
Explain
that before, but what is keel hauling
Explain
again?
it.
I've heard it once before. It's something that's like, because keel hauling sounds cute and adorable, and it's not.
No.
Oh yeah, that's a nautical one. You tie a rope around ankles and arms, elongate the person and huck them over the bow of the ship and let them go under the keel and come out the backside.
Yeah, that's right. Oh.
And then do it again until they get inevitably sawed in half by all the barnacles on the keel.
Yeah, that would be gruesome. And could you just imagine? I mean, oh, golly.
It's amazing how creative humans are when it comes to basically only hurting each other.
Administering torture.
Yeah.
How little creativity and
the worst
imagination we have when it comes to anything else.
Oy.
I hope that didn't happen at Pirate. I hope that didn't happen at Pirate Fest, Alex.
Pirate Fest. That's what happened to the person who didn't bring enough rum.
My dad can beat up your dad.
Yeah. Okay. Let's pivot away from crime and let me on the way.
Well, hold on before we do that.
I am Evan Man.
Will.
Who?
Yeah.
I am Evan Man.
I
didn't know if that was just
Man.
me that spelled that or not.
That was also Evan Man. Yeah.
Oh,
No.
yeah. So is Will.
Okay. What did you want to take it to, Evan? Man.
Actually, I think. Oh no, I'm currently not an Evan.
Yeah, you're Alex. Will's Evan.
For people in podcast land who think we're just absolutely nuts, we're testing a new studio this week, and one of the flaws, maybe you could call it a feature, is we are getting the same name. And to people who are commenting on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, I see you. Like Craig, who's got a question about XRP Tundra. God bless him. I absolutely cannot respond to any comments right now from this dashboard, so I'm just driving without a steering wheel. Can you guys answer comments at all? No.
Hi, comments. I don't know what the active ones are. I don't know what XRP Tundra is.
It's
I've
a
never heard
DEX on XRP. And if you're having problems,
because it's a desolate wasteland of inactivity.
You've said enough.
I would imagine that if he's having problems, they're related to illiquidity, inactivity. You know, I have a drawing over here on my whiteboard that you can see if you check out my most recent video. It compares Ethereum. If you think about the plumbing, the infrastructure that makes crypto work, then some blockchains have a better user experience than others. And I would invite you, Craig, to imagine a highway. A highway is a piece of infrastructure. If it's robust and well built, like the US highway system can take you anywhere you want to go. It's got on ramps and off ramps. It's got signs. It's got toll roads. It's got beautiful street lights. It's got enough capacity for semi trucks and moms and dads too. But there are also roads that go through like a field. I was in where were we? Denver, and I went to see a friend at a comedy show just outside of Denver, but it was like a little more rural, and I had to walk. I took a walk to get there, and the road it took me on was actually like through, I don't know, a foot worn path. It was bushwhacking. And that's kind of what it's like when you're trying to drive on the XRP network or like smart contracts there. They're not as robust. Do you have any stats about Tundra? Alex, is that where you went?
Yeah, so just for the record, there's no information about it on anything other than its own website. There is something. What is this?
I will say there is a lot of merit, just while you're looking at it, to doing DeFi on new. I mean, pretty much 4 or 5 years ago, that's all everybody who was doing DeFi anywhere other than ETH was doing. I mean, remember Trader Joe at the beginning or Pancake Swap at the beginning?
Yeah, the difference is that those were simpler times. We were happier people, and people actually tried using new protocols for a little bit to see like what would happen and how it would go. We don't do that anymore. Here's a website, like an indexing website I've never heard of, called Live Coin Watch. It's the only other thing that has XRP Tundras cataloged at all, but all it tells me is that there was $35 worth of volume in the last 24 hours. And then if I go to the actual
excuse me?
$35.
Oh,
$35. Yeah. Apparently it's supposed to be an XRP and Solana bridge. So the thing that has there's Tundra S, which is the Solana based DeFi staking token, and Tundra X, which is the XRP ledger governance and future gas token supporting Glacier Chain. They had a pre-sale. Yeah.
That's about it. So
there you go.
That's it.
Yeah.
And shout out to Bearded Chief Fact Check Officer in the comments for giving us a little definition. They have a dual token model across the XRP ledger and Solana so that XRP holders can get native yield and governance because there's more liquidity on Solana without giving up their custody. But as Alex has said, there's maybe only $35 of transferring on this bridge. You might think of this as a literal bridge, but a bridge that in order to go to the other side, you got to get on a ferry or a shuttle or park your bike and walk across, and then they'll give you a bike or a shuttle or some kind of vehicle to move around on the other side, right? That's like what the tokens do on either side of a bridge. But when there's low liquidity, when there's not enough dollars, that means a lot of people took the bikes and never brought them back. And you show up wanting to bridge over, and it's just an empty bike rack and like the sound of the whistling wind in the background. It's painful.
If you guys want to get involved, here's how you do it.
Brutal.
Yeah, he's trying to help. He's just trying to help.
Step 1 of 5. Create an account on the official XRP Tundra website. This is according to the official XRP Tundra website.
Okay.
Once logged in, create an order specifying the amount of tokens you would like to purchase. You will be
hopefully it's small. Start with single digits, right?
You will then be provided with a wallet address and or a QR code to which you need to send the required funds. Step 4, make the payment using one of the accepted cryptocurrencies. That list is notably missing. After payment confirmation, your tokens will be allocated accordingly. And that's it.
This is the pre-sale.
So,
you're telling me.
I'm in.
Make an account on this new website and then email a nameless, faceless group of people saying that you would like to buy their worthless shitcoin. And then they will tell you an arbitrary amount of some crypto worth something that they would like to receive in return. And then they will then send it to you elsewhere after you've paid them. So you're literally like going to an Etsy store and buying a garbage crypto in exchange for money and hoping for the best. So Godspeed to you. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah, Craig, this is how Bitcoin started on the internet, but the difference here is since then, let's just do a show of hands. How many pre-sales have you seen? Could you count it on two hands, or would you need your toes, guys?
How many pre-sales have I seen?
Yeah, how many tokens have you seen advertised as like, this is a pre-sale, you can buy this token?
Hundreds.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many have you seen?
None.
Aside from Bitcoin, where the token that you bought early at a discount turned out to be worth it?
Bitcoin was not a pre-sale.
Yeah. You're right. That's fair.
What do you mean?
I was like,
of course I'm right.
I was like, what are we doing?
I can think of one.
Of course I'm right. I was
What?
born at Yale.
What is it?
Ethereum. That's the only one.
Oh, sorry.
Ethereum did a crowd sale, a pre-sale. That's the only one I can think of.
We're including ICOs?
Yeah.
Yeah, most of those failed too.
Let's see. That would have been 2017. Almost any 2017 cryptos. Any 2017 crypto still relevant other than Ethereum?
Well, but what I would say, the point here is like,
so.
sometimes this is what happens in crypto is you'll see one person do one thing, an airdrop, a pre-sale, a whatever, and it creates a lot of hype, a lot of activity, and there are new people coming into crypto all the time who've never experienced any of this. And so the first time they see a pre-sale for real in the wild, it's like a fresh crowd of, forgive me, suckers is lined up thinking, I want to get rich like those other people who are in crypto who must be rich because they're all talking about how rich they are and saying that pre-sales are the way to do it, and they're going to hold a pre-sale and I can participate. I'm going to give them my money for their new token. You're the product. Every time it's a pre-sale, you're the product. If you can't get the tokens for free by doing stuff on their platform, by giving them, money in exchange for another kind of yield, if there aren't legitimate partners, and if you don't know how to suss that out for yourself, you're the fish. There's a barrel. Somebody's got a gun.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I'm very sorry for you, Craig. I hope you can get your money back out of Tundra, and I hope you'll join us at community.rumshq.com. The loudest voices, my friend, they are not always the most helpful. They are probably not your teachers if they're telling you to spend time at a pre-sale or Tundra.
You want something that's kind of funny? I saw, this is not my credit. I saw a tweet on this, but it goes in quotations, Bitcoin is too risky. That's why I buy gold. Person who bought the top of gold and is currently down 30% in 3 days. Or 7 days or however long it's been, just a handful of days. It's like, ooh, the volatility in markets has been crazy high across like markets that like traditionally aren't volatile. It's kind of nuts. If this volatility
you futures and leverage for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the more leverage that gets used in traditional markets, which already is more than crypto, it's just that crypto has a smaller market cap. But if you have volatility like this continue in things like gold and silver and oil and stocks and stuff like that, you probably will have less people interested in crypto because in comparison, it won't be quite as volatile or like more volatile than traditional markets. It's going to be interesting to see where the attention of traders gets brought to and fro.
Dude,
so crypto would be the safe haven then, is what you're saying.
You say crypto will be a safe haven?
Yeah, if equities are more volatile, then cryptos will be the safe haven.
Oh yeah, that's true. I suppose so.
One day, 'tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. Matthew, we've given you enough time. We've stalled enough for you. I'm going to do one more transition, and then it's time for your homework. So I'm going to defer to you and let you introduce us either to the week that was of Katana activity or talk a little about the Masari crypto report. And while I wait for you to make a decision, I just wanted to share this wonderful educational resource. I saw this on Reddit and on Facebook, and I thought it was such an elegant explanation of Bitcoin mining. Have you ever seen this? It's a genie for people in podcast land in a bottle. How Bitcoin mining works, and the genie says, "I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10 to the 22nd power. If you guess the number, then you win 3.125 BTC." And the guy on the other side is like, "Sounds good."
Yeah, no, I mean that's it.
That's basically it.
Nailed it.
It seems so much less serious though when there's a literal genie in a lamp, but that's kind of what it is.
There's elegance and beauty in its simplicity.
In today's world, I'm just going to tell people that's how it works now.
Yeah, I'm going to tell people that is Satoshi. And that the guy in the computer's Alvini.
Could be.
Rest in peace. Okay, Matthew, we've stalled enough. What you got?
All
Where do you
right.
want to take it?
We can start with Katana. We can do a walkthrough if the
Yes.
screen share is able to work.
Beautiful.
Before though, is my Twitter feed just like clickbaiting me again, or did something actually happen with Clarity Act?
Right now?
I guess it was a few hours ago, but
I haven't seen anything about it.
okay, then maybe I'm just getting rugged.
Well,
right.
research in the background. That's good.
Yeah.
Good eyes. I like the instinct.
Okay, so with Katana, so yeah, obviously this last time I talked about it, we talked about it some, and then last week there was discussions as their TGE was 6 days ago, I think at this point. Yeah, so we can do a walkthrough on how to sell, how to stake, because that is a big thing that I think lots of people are going to have to do, especially here if you bought crates, if you got any sort of airdrop, whether that was from Paul staking, which was a pathetic airdrop, I must say. But yeah, so okay, do you want to pull up? Can someone pull up the Katana app?
Yeah,
Are
we
you
can.
allowed to screen share or no?
For those here who may not know what a TGE or an airdrop is, Matt, can you quickly define those terms?
So TGE is token generation event. So Katana is an ecosystem. They created their own network token. Basically, their incentives as a DeFi protocol, they wanted to bring liquidity in. They wanted users to use their platform. So how they do that is they gave out rewards in their own token and gave their token an arbitrary value, and then eventually they launched it so it became tradable. Originally, they said, okay, so the token price is going to be this, but you can only sell it once we make it sellable, essentially. And they just did that last week. And an airdrop is basically where you are doing one thing on one platform and something gives you money for that on another platform. So in the example of poll staking, if people had Polygon tokens and were staking them, Katana sees that, and then they insert a certain amount of cat tokens into your wallet balance on the Katana network. You don't really have to sign a transaction for it, or do anything, swap into it. They just send it to you. You have to claim it on the network, but they just send it there into you.
Yeah. So in other words, TGE is the creation of a token of cryptocurrency, and an airdrop is people being given that token who are interacting early with the platform.
Correct.
Perfect.
Yep. So with Katana, yeah, there was unfortunately things that they have done that I have not been too big a fan of. I've been following Katana since kind of their launch with the crates and stuff like that. So they originally were going to launch in February, then it got delayed, which is fine. But now or it was as late as February, but then it got changed to March, which is fine. But the tricky thing with them is if you staked with them, you got what's called VCAT, which is if you provided money for their crates or any of their early like incentive programs, you got what's called VCAT. And that is a locked up version of their cat token. They're staked. It's to validate the network. And they changed a rule with that a few days before launch. They said, oh, hey, by the way, if you want to instantly unstake, because the thing with staking is you can't instantly just swap it into another token like USDC. So you'd have to what's called like unstake it, and then they made it so that you had a fee for immediately unstaking. They changed it to like 80%. So 80% of your token's value was just gone if you wanted to do that on the first day. And they have a haircut schedule where they reduce the percentage by that as the days go on. But yeah, it was something they just did days before launch and didn't like share with the community much. I believe it was like 20, actually it was either like 25% or 40% was the original. So there was like a fee, but then yeah, they bumped it up to 80 without anyone's approval, which I was not a fan of. But yeah, they are providing again incentives. If you stake your cat, you're originally getting 35% yield. But my big problem with Katana is they advertised like 50% yields if you kind of help bootstrap their liquidity, which I mean, I think we all knew with the bear market and stuff that probably wasn't going to hold up. But at the same time, don't write checks you're not going to cash. They originally said like, okay, you can put like on their platforms like Morpho, like, okay, you can like set the what you think the price of cat's going to be based off like the fully diluted value. So it's like you always have this option. It's do your own research. But they're always promoting like these super high yields on their social media accounts and stuff like that. They're like, look at our like high yields, but they never ended up panning out. Now that the token launched at a price that is, I mean, so what? They were valuing it that would be priced at 10 cents, but it's only, or sorry, not, is it 10 cents? Yeah, 10 cents, and it's only like 1.2 cents or something like that. So it's like a 10x down from what they were advertising. So the yields only end up being around like 6%, I want to say, effectively, which is kind of frustrating, along with them doing their haircut model as well. So I am kind of looking to get out of the Katana ecosystem because they obviously are showing that they haven't really aren't going to keep up with their promises and doing some shady things in terms of leadership. And then also, if you pull up their chart on their app, you can even see it in their app. Their TVL chart is quite hysterical to look at because of the incentive programs they did with centralized exchanges like Binance and OKX. And I mean, they're listed on like Coinbase and Kraken too, so I'm willing to bet they paid a hefty fee for them as well. So Katana effectively was going down. You can see towards in the middle of January, it really started to go down. And this is kind of, they delayed. Yeah, it went down 123 million. And then they all of a sudden announced these earn campaigns with like Binance and OKX, and things shot up to over 500 million. If you parked money over there, you get some like cat fees or whatever. And I'm willing to bet that they paid Binance a lot of money and a lot of like preference in terms of selling and stuff like that to have their token listed over there. So yeah, value went up straight like a rocket, crazy. And then as you can see, it's kind of come down since then. And lo and behold, that's when the token launched. So I don't know, that doesn't really scream healthy ecosystem to me. And right now with their haircut schedule, it seems like people are kind of just locked and waiting. Everyone's kind of held hostage. So I don't know, I don't think things are looking too good for them. So if you're wanting to either sell your cat or get out of it, well, I guess if we're on this interface, we can start with staking.
Sure.
So can you go over to the staking tab, Evan?
Yes, and let me let folks in podcast land know that this will be on YouTube. You can watch us do it back. It's app.katana.network if you want to play along. Katana with a K. We're going to go up to stake, you say?
Yes, stake on the top. So oh, and there's, okay, so you do have VCAT. Perfect. Okay, so VCAT, you can do two things with it. You either stake it as itself or swap it into a VCAT, which is essentially like a liquid staking token, an LST for it, which that basically is, it's like a receipt token saying like, hey, it's proof that, okay, you have this thing, this VCAT, but you're allowed to trade it. How I kind of talked about how with staking, you're not allowed to swap tokens into something else. An LST allows you to do that. There needs to be liquidity for it somewhere, but it's still an option. So I have not played around with selling a VCAT at all. I don't know what the markets are looking like for that. But with Katana, their whole shtick is kind of productive TVL, which I think it's a good thing to have. So instead of just having like USDC on Katana, Ethereum on Katana, and in this case, their VCAT on Katana, if you just have it sit in your balance, it's not going to earn for you at all. It's not going to do any of the DeFi earning things. So you need to put it to use. So Evan, go ahead and just click on, I guess, the VCAT.
Sure. I think I have to
below, like
below. Yeah.
Yeah. So while you have it staked, it allows you for two strategies. You can manually like choose like in voting, which I would not recommend unless you want to be a really active voter in an ecosystem. It allows you to do an automatic strategy. So it just automates it for you. So if you take your cursor down to the left some, like there, and that enter amount to stake. Or actually, hold on, click on.
Man, this is how it must feel to be on a call with me. Click on okay, try it. Click on hang on.
Yeah, like scroll down. Let's see where's your.
Let's see.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay, choose strategy. Yes.
So let's do it.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that second VCAT is your Polygon airdrop. By the way, the 76 cents,
baby.
How wild is it that they first of all they give me two different allocate? Why do you think they did that? That they were instead of just lumping it into one bucket, did they want me to see how disappointing the airdrop was?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. And that's another thing they did that was messed up. So originally they had a portion of money that was allocated or of their cat, or guys, in this case, VCAT, that was allocated for Pulse stakers. And then also just a few days before launch, they said, hey, by the way, we're going to give the Pulse stakers less of an allocation up front, but in order to like preserve the long-term health of the ecosystem, we're going to give you an airdrops in year 2, 3, 4, and 5 after launch. So don't worry, Evan. A year from now, you're going to get another 76 cents in your account. So
these guys suck.
Huzzah.
Yeah.
And
okay, so just for the purpose of walking people through it, I'm going to click through this, and then I definitely want to keep going with the commentary because I have some notes. Okay,
strategy.
Sorry, I can't. So I can choose VCAT. Undelegated, that's pretty much all I get to choose. Select, I can do auto, which is what I'm going to do. That automatically, let me show this. Automatically allocate your votes to the highest yield pools and earns reward, just like Matthew said. Manually vote on pools or earn rewards. Someday when everybody watching the Rise Up Morning Show is a level 3 and 4 DeFi user, and we have the pirate ship, we're all going to choose manual, and we're going to take platforms like this hostage and tell them where we want them to put the yield. People have done that in DeFi. It's been very fun and successful, and also pretty cutthroat. So auto recommended. How much? $160. Okay, I guess that's it. Set voting to auto. Confirm in wallet. Hold tight. Confirm. Oh, do I have ETH on Katana? Yep, there we go. Confetti. Wow,
what a nice little sound.
The most delightful joy.
So
that's where all the development went.
That was the budget.
It was like, that was the budget. It's like, shit, we don't have enough to give people, so we have to really, really make this airdrop shitty. We spent too much on the confetti sound effect.
And look at this one. I can, looks like I have the option now to either stake my undelegated, or now I can convert to a VCAT or unstake my VCAT. So just for fun and science,
60-day cooldown.
I'm going to see if I can convert my 67 VCAT worth 76 cents. How great is that to a VCAT? Let's just see what it's like.
Careful, Evan. Don't spend it all in one place now.
Yeah. These could be company funds.
Just wait. One day, because I have 67 of these, and because it's so low priced, when it goes to the moon, I'll be rich.
Yeah, just make sure you write it down because you have to pay taxes on that.
Great. Conversion successful. So let's see how this goes. I've got rewards earning here, auto compounding, reinvested into more VCAT, increasing the value of my AVCAT over time. No claiming, no manual action. Just hold it, watch it grow. Max growth, auto growth. Okay. What else do you want to see on this page, Matthew? Maybe the voting, the rewards, or?
Yeah. So the rewards, I guess, is the only other thing to really touch on. By doing that, delegating your VCAT, it allows you to accrue rewards. So, with the haircut model, with people like leaving, so if you do choose to like unstake your VCAT or whatever and take that 80%, the fees from that go back to VCAT stakers, and they're promising that you'll get up to like 35% in whatever days. I don't know if I trust that given their history, I guess, at this point. But yeah, I guess that's the only real thing, staking VCAT to get those rewards, I guess, and all of her fees. I'm sure it'll be negligible. Yeah, I guess the only other thing with Katana is how to sell it, but it's pretty simple. It's just like a sushi swap.
You can also sell it right here. They have a spot in there, maybe not the VCAT and the AVCAT, but if you have Katana tokens that you got from pre-depositing or something like that, or you have assets that live on the Katana network, the button you're looking for is going to be in the top right of the website. It brings up a Uniswap-esque interface that will allow you to do it right here on the website. I will take us to SushiSwap though, because Matthew, in your experience, you like SushiSwap? You think it's a better experience than this here, or other thoughts on it?
Honestly, it's the same, to be honest. And what Katana's doing on their interface is they're routing it through SushiSwap, so it's effectively the same thing. So
SushiSwap is sushi.com. How much do you think they paid for that?
Pretty penny.
And once you're connected there, you can choose not only assets on the Katana network, but this is a multi-chain like swap and bridge interface. Matthew, what's the difference between a swap and a bridge?
So a swap is you're trading one token for another, one asset for another on the same network. Versus a bridge, it's on a different network. And nowadays, it's a lot easier where they kind of have things like ag layer and stuff like that, where liquidity is all like living in different chains. Yeah. But the problem was beforehand with bridging, sometimes there wouldn't be liquidity on one chain versus there was on another. But yeah, so swapping is just easily one asset for another on the same network. But bridging is like you'd have to completely, I guess, like rewrap it and do a different token, which requires network fees sometimes. But nowadays it's a lot easier. But yeah.
Excellent. So on their interface, swap refers to the network you're currently on, like Matthew said. And if you want to bridge, you can do cross-chain. And most people are probably going to want to do this if you're trying to sell your Katana tokens, because let's be honest, what else are you going to do on the Katana network aside from participate in like Katana's protocol? Probably
Run.
Yeah.
Run, get out of there. Get out of there. Go now.
So this will allow me to select any tokens that are in my wallet on the Katana network right here. And let's say just because all I have is ETH on Katana, and now I can swap it to just about any other token on any other network. And for the purposes of just like showing you, let's say I want to get USDC. It's going to probably be cheaper and better. Can I just click this and do max? $11. Yeah, that's not so bad. They're basically giving me the whole thing back. You will notice though, $11.47 back. Let's see if I get a better deal on another network. $11.48 back. Okay, that's not so bad. How about Sol? $11 and come on, Daddy needs a new pair of boots.
$17,000. What?
They might not have a route for every chain you want to go to. Some chains will cost more as your destination. Yeah, it looks like I can't bridge this USDC to Solana from Katana. I might have to take a different route. So it might take a little clicking around. This is not uncommon. This is, again, you parking your bike on one side of the bridge and getting somewhere else to use a new one. Anything else you wanted to show with this swapping process, Matthew, or on Katana at this moment in time?
I don't think so. I think that's pretty much everything to cover. I mean, I guess they're doing some things like they have like a perps dex, which we can't even use in the US anyways. But
Tight.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, just wanted to cover ways to get out because I don't really think there's much incentive to stay in, unfortunately. So
Bye, Katana.
yeah, I mean, they're still paying. It's so annoying because being on crypto Twitter, they're paying like they have a bunch of like paid posts. They have like one of like the Kayato Yapper or whatever that is, like campaigns. People are like shilling this thing that they probably don't even use, but they're just doing it because they get paid. It's so annoying. Like I just want to put in comments like you're like shilling and saying all this stuff is great when you know it's not. If you were not getting paid by them, like you would not say a good thing about it because you know the truth. Like you know what the truth is, and just so frustrating. So. But
yeah, it's frustrating because I also feel like they're trying to like wash it over. I was in the Katana Telegram chat watching people's sentiment as it went live, and they were deleting comments that had negative tone. Whenever there's a post on Twitter, everybody who's on their team Polygon, Team Katana, kind of jumps in the comments and says, "This is great, this is awesome, this is cool." And I gotta say, I just expected more of them. Mark Boyron, friend of the show and CEO over at Polygon Labs, announced yesterday that 2 new major events happened in Katana's ecosystem. One, like Matthew said, is the launch of perpetuals. We'll have to see how that goes. The other, Matt Fisher became the CEO of Katana. And I don't know Matt, but good, strong name.
You know, he was out there kind of when people were complaining about them delaying their TGE or whatever, he was kind of saying, you guys don't get it. You don't know what it's like having to launch a token. I'm like, what? You're telling your supporters this? Like, what are you doing? I don't know. So that was my only impression of him. So whatever.
Nobody said you had to launch a token. You did this to yourself.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm making too much money. And
the thing with there was 2 things about this that kind of ruffled my feathers a little bit, I guess. One, every major tweet that I saw around the date of TGE was advertising $700 million of TVL, and there's no evidence of that being real literally anywhere. In fact, it's not even just like a slight exaggeration. It was like a multitudes of hundreds of percent, like over what it actually was, which is diabolical to do when anybody can fact check the number in less than 15 seconds.
Fact check yourself, brother.
So that was a weird one. I was trying to figure out like what the impetus for sending that tweet could have been, considering TVL was nowhere near that, which is like fine. Just tell us what TVL actually is. I mean,
yeah,
it would be insane to like launch a DEX right now that has, you know, been cooking for this long and have it, you know, have almost $1 billion of TVL. That would be crazy. So
No,
It's not just the DEX.
their TVL doesn't stand for total value locked. It stands for totally very liquid, for sure.
Don't
Trust
look
me.
under the curtain. Yeah.
Trust me,
Well,
bro.
After doing an epic screen share, you've got to go ice your shoulder. And I also know you have to take care of some business. So I'd love to hear if you've got a final thought for us, a last joke, a word of wisdom, or something like that before you ride your dog and pony into the sunset.
Well, you don't have to ice your shoulder if you have a handy dandy stand to hold your phone on and just angle it at the perfect level. So, you know, it was easy. It was easy. You know, I don't want that stolen valor for a TikTok screen share. But no, the only things I want to let people know about is we've talked a lot about how the most important charts to look at are oil to see how stocks and crypto are going to go, but also 10-year treasury note from the bond market. Those are the two single most important charts to figure out what the direction of crypto and stocks are going to be, because they're the most impactful things on inflation, but also the potential problems we could have with the payment of debt on US debt and a number of other things. But it is the US Treasury note. If the rates go higher, it's bad. It's very, very, very bad. And it's horrific for inflation, worse than oil going up is. And then, of course, oil going up is impactful on, you know, the cost of energy and filling up your tank of gasoline and all that kind of stuff. But as rates on bonds go up, so too do mortgage rates, therefore rent, also auto loans, debt for companies goes up, the expense of companies getting debt goes up, which means they fire more people. It also makes the interest payments on US government debt go up as well. It's really, really, really bad. So keep your eyes on those two things.
Question before you run, I'll make it fast. Isn't the cost of oil rising like above certain thresholds, like $130 a barrel, and then I forget what the next above threshold is, and then sustaining there for more than a certain number of weeks or months at a time, basically like steps 1, 2, and 3 to global recession? Like
oil going up is a recession indicator, but I don't know exactly what those levels are. I'd have to look it up.
I know for a fact the first one that I've seen economists warning about recently is 130, sustained for at least 2 to 4 weeks would be the first wave. And then after that, it goes to like 3 to 6 months at the same level, would cause a loss in global GDP of somewhere near $700 billion. And then I know there was another recent article I was reading about specifically the cost of shipping fuel. Not just the increased cost of the risk analysis for sending ships to certain places, but the actual then cost to fund the moving of a ship that size, which then of course touches basically everything that exists because most stuff ends up on a ship. And it was just like these are like steps 1, 2, and 3 to global recession. So
yeah, oil going up is bad for everything. Everything becomes more expensive. People fire more people. People invest less money. All that kind of stuff. It's a huge knock-on effect. And so too does the rates of bonds. So keep your eye on those charts. Those are the two most important charts to watch if you're a crypto trader, stock trader, trader of anything. And then also, we have our chart art competition, everybody, Monday night, Eastern Standard Time. So go over to community.rumshq.com. I'll create a place today for people to start posting chart art within the community.
Wait, they have been posting.
Oh, they have?
Yeah. Have you not seen the alerts?
No, I do not look at the chart art submissions before the competition. Where are they posting?
Well, they have been posting all over the community. I get the notifications about it, and at this very moment, I sure can't find it to tell you with the screen share.
Okay,
I
then
am
what
gutted
I'm
by it.
going to do right now is I'm going to create a space at this
Wait,
very
don't
moment.
create. I'm telling you,
Okay.
there's already one. Hang on. Don't
Oh,
create
chart art
another one.
competition. Oh, I already made it a while ago. Haha. Oh
Yeah,
my God,
yeah,
some of these
but-
are amazing.
but-
that was made by ChatGPT, but you know what?
You're gonna have to aggregate, because look at this. Our intrepid friends have taken it upon themselves to create their own posts in the public forum.
Oh
This
my
Pain
God.
Much one is very good. So you may.
I do want to make it clear that if I suspect that this chart art was made by a ChatGPT Claude or something else and not from a human, it will be disqualified.
Oh,
Oh,
It will be disqualified.
Damn.
It will tickle me and I will laugh and then I will grab this AI slop and throw it in the trash. I want art from humans, not from these AI robot clankers, okay?
whoa.
I can't believe
Yikes.
that.
Yeah.
We're gonna get
with that,
demonetized for that one.
I don't care. I don't like them.
Okay, we will figure out the chart art. Hit it up over at community.rumshq.com. No robots, please. And Will,
Don't come for me.
thank you so much for being you.
Yeah.
He's your friend and mine.
The winner gets $100 USDC. So good luck, everybody.
Your friend and mine, Mr. Will Watson. We'll see you later, brother.
Wait, do I stay backstage to like help the upload? Like what works here?
Bye-bye now. Just stay.
Okay, bye now.
Go
bye.
but
Okay,
stay.
bye.
Go
Okay,
but
bye.
stay.
Okay,
Yeah.
bye. Okay,
I help him. I
bye.
help him out. Here he goes. Bye-bye. Okay, Matthew, you bought yourself enough time. We are coming to you for
All
the
right.
second part of your homework. What's going on with the Masari Crypto Thesis for 2026? For anybody who doesn't know, we talked about this last time Matthew was on the show. The theses are worth reading. You can get them totally free. And if you want to play along, the URL is masari.io. Alex, I totally rugged you, though. I'm going to give Matthew a little more time. You had an update for us in the private chat on Clarity. Yeah.
You actually rugged me twice because I said I had 2 points about Katana. And then we only let me say one.
That's on me,
before.
dog.
Katana. Ugh, ready to get finished.
Yes.
Be finished with that word. Except in 60 days when I unstake, then we can do that. But till then.
No. You mean in 4 years when you finish getting the rest of your airdrop?
Yeah, my poll airdrop. Well, I'll be unstaking my poll probably, so that will not be happening.
So the TVL thing was weird to me. I didn't really understand that. But then too, like if you look at DeFi protocols or applications in general, there's kind of this required little tidbit that I feel like we forget a lot of the time when we're looking at the potential efficacy of a particular mechanism within DeFi, and that is that you need to have supply and demand both, right? Like we're going real rudimentary here. So if you look at something like Aave or Curve or Sky Maker or Camino or Jupiter, or take your pick of a big successful DeFi platform on a network with users wherein people are doing both sides of the thing. They are borrowing and they are also supplying. And then bonus points if the asset that they are borrowing or supplying can actually then be used elsewhere to do something with. So like if you're taking USDC or USDG or another stablecoin, mostly USDC, and you're supplying it to earn interest and yield, and then you can withdraw and claim your rewards and whatever. And now through the partnerships with both MasterCard and Visa, you can spend that literally anywhere that accepts those two cards, or one or the other, to buy groceries, gas, whatever. Fantastic. Okay, we have multiple sides of the equation tackled, wherein there is a reason for the thing to continue. If the mechanism by itself works because people are supplying but not demanding, as soon as launch incentives run out, the protocol dies. And the problem there is that when the token in question has no use except running the mechanism on the DeFi protocol that is struggling with demand, not supply, then inevitably it will run out. And this is what leads to the downfall of basically every DeFi mechanism that doesn't last. And so I'm very worried that that is exactly what we're seeing here, because quite frankly, the yield on a useful token like USDC is so much lower than it is in competitive ecosystems or protocols or apps. There is quite literally no reason for me to take my USDC out of Carrot or out of Camino or out of Jupiter Lend or out of Aave or something like that and put it here. Now, the only reason I would do that is to earn the underlying additional token that's included in the reward. But if I don't see as a user or an investor any potential in that particular thing, because we've been kneecapping early adopters and users, very quickly at the 11th hour before the airdrop, we're changing the rules over here and there. TGE goes the way that most TGEs go, with no real effort to try to do anything about that or maybe change the game or, whatever. And I don't mean change the game by rugging everyone who got involved early, but, maybe something more innovative. Then we're going to go the same place. Then I don't care about the additional enhanced reward token that I'm going to get on top of my other yield, which is worse. I only care about the fact that my USDC yield is lower than it would be elsewhere. Yeah. And so that's basically the way that you need to approach every DeFi protocol that you look at getting involved with if you're trying to yield farm or earn interest on an asset that you hold. Is, okay, I am going to supply this thing to earn this reward. Is anybody on earth for any real reason interested in the demand side of this thing I'm supplying to? Because, it sounds great that we could all put money in a pot and earn interest on it to supply it to people who are going to take out a loan against it. But if no one on earth wants to take out a loan for any reason whatsoever, then who cares what your interest rate is, because you're not going to get paid. So that's my big beef here, which you could expand out to pretty much every DeFi protocol that is trying to basically just incentivize rewards in its own token that has no additional use. Jito is actually an interesting example because you have incentives to participate that can be increased with their own token, JTO. And then interestingly, there are like reasons to have JTO. So that's what you need to have. You need to be able to take what you've built and all the money that you raised to launch the thing and create an incentive program for the additional reward token to make the rest of it actually appealing to a user. And that's how you grow a DeFi protocol. Sounds, it sounds simple. It is simple. It's not easy, but it is very simple. So my concern is I don't see any of that here.
Yep. And you are 100% right on it too, because actually what I've been doing is participating in the borrowing side of Katana, which is a good thing, but also not, because the borrowing rates are so low for I guess the interest for borrowing. And what that tells me is there is no demand. There really is no demand to borrow. And part of with the cat token, what they would do is they would provide incentives to borrow. You would get boosted cat yield. Sometimes it would be USDC yield. Sometimes it'd be Ethereum, Morpho tokens to borrow. And still to this day, it's still really low. And as I get out of the Katana ecosystem, I'll probably get out of the borrowing market. But I was getting more earning, because I would earn USDC and the Katana vaults, but then I would essentially be looping, because the amount I was taking out to borrow was way less than what I was. I mean, it's still only at 1%, which is.
So you touched on it. So looping would be the strategy there. That's how you can play both sides of the supply and demand in a borrowing and lending protocol, or a DeFi protocol. The problem with this particular loop is that the only people demanding are the ones interested in resupplying to continue. Yep. And that is a limited time offer that will burn out. Yeah. That is an early cards. Yeah.
For sure.
On the other big ones, if you go and you break down who's supplying and who's borrowing, or who's doing both and looping, you have people who are looping and running both sides of the equation, but you also have people who are borrowing and taking it out and going somewhere else and doing something else with it. And that's the piece that's missing here. No one's doing that.
Yep.
This is what goes back to that XRP Tundra thing too. It would be more attractive and appealing to us if there was this. I think of it like a watering hole because it's liquidity. It is literally how much money is in this pot and how easy is it for people to get access to this like pot of water, pot of money, and then take it other places. A good oasis in the desert is made better by buckets and made better by little ramps where you can pour the water downhill to your village and those kinds of things. A good DeFi protocol is made better by bridges to the chain and by curators like Morpho and Gauntlet building risk profile pools there and so on and so forth. And liquidity begets liquidity. The activity there at the oasis draws more people there, and not just people, but different kinds of investments. Right now, we're in a moment where there are real world assets, there are institutions, there are more retail consumers than ever kind of coming on chain, people who want to send money around the world, all this stuff. And they're going to go to those places where there already is money. I will say, I thought that, first of all, brilliant commentary. You both got a lot of points banked, and I'll give you one or two more. See if I remember that Wednesday night. No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Is that I really thought on the front side of this thing that if anybody was going to swing the bat, everybody who tries this is taking a big risk. I really thought Katana had a good chance because they were incubated by Polygon, because of the way the Pol token incentives are aligned with stakers and with holders, because somebody who's a layer 2 had to build this kind of thing because they're probably the best connected already. I don't know. I really thought I was let down by it. It was risky. But
I think the model works well too. I mean, in theory, I think it addresses a lot of issues that have been taking place in DeFi chains. I thought,
and it may still work, but
yeah.
like the launch this way, they still got money. But
here's the thing. This is indicative of multiple issues at the same time. One, there's the mechanistic approach to building and running and maintaining a DeFi protocol that I just talked about. But then there's also the fact that, like, hey, if a major ecosystem is interested in incubating things that are actually going to improve it, you need to be more careful or be more involved, because it is important to distinguish the difference between Polygon and Katana, a project that was incubated there, because many ecosystems, Ethereum, Solana, I mean, take your pick, have all incubated or helped launch things in their network, or on their network rather, that ended up being bad. And that's fine. That's the nature of startups. Most of them suck and most of them don't go anywhere.
Yep.
But I don't know. I hope that things that get learned from this, like I would hope that the war room talk on what to do next time or how to improve this, or the after action report on exactly how this went and all that sort of stuff. I would really hope that there are conversations in there about the method in which major ecosystems and protocols and networks incubate things and standards. We've seen this with grant departments too, right? Like major networks that allocate millions of dollars a year to grant funds that they think might do something, but ultimately burn them. And then they're just out the money and the thing also failed anyway. So it's, it's indicative of multiple issues.
Okay. I would love to pivot to the crypto theses while we've still got Matthew. I'm sure you want to give him some more homework. So one more time, let me tell you, Messari, MESSARI.io is the place you got to go. I'm going to just show it on screen briefly while you talk about it. Matthew, if you're in podcast land, you know what I'm going to say. The place you got to go is community.rumshq.com. That is going to give you the links to all of our socials. You can find this episode, yada yada, and then you can see these screen shares for yourself. Matthew, what'd you think about this report? This is like a bad mamma jamma in terms of how like thorough, dense,
there's
well researched.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there's so much. I mean, you could have like 3 different episodes just dedicated to just talking about this thing. There's a lot really good, very well researched, pretty well explained. I would say there were some things that honestly I'm still like, there's a lot of rabbit holes you can go down, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, between that and then there's a video on YouTube where they talk about some of the subjects on their YouTube channel. It's only like a 55-minute video if I remember correctly. So, but yeah, this whole thing as a read is like hours and hours long. But yeah, it was I thought it was a good read. There's a lot of things I agreed with, some things I didn't, but yeah.
Don't summarize the whole report for us, but tell us if
yeah.
any particular sections, segments, takeaways were more helpful, were more illuminating, changed your mind about anything. Did you have anything you disagreed with or that changed your mind?
Yeah, well, okay. One of the things I disagreed with was the base app. They were pretty bullish on the base app, which I've not been. In terms of the whole like making it like the everything app, the execution of it I think was really bad, and they didn't really think that it was too big of a problem. Maybe maybe in theory it's a good idea. That's what they were saying, and maybe there could be some like workarounds, but I don't know. I was not a fan of that. It was interesting to me the way they talked about each token, not each token, but like certain cryptos in terms of their moneyness, I guess you can say. Talking about Bitcoin, talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum were the two main topics of discussion when it came to just why do they trade at the price that they do in terms of like a monetary premium. I guess something, I learned about Bitcoin that I'm curious to see what's going to happen is when people talk about the quantum threat, but just that from the perspective of talk about like the lost wallets or something like that. The amount of Bitcoin and kind of just how they're going to go about it. And I don't know, it kind of seems like a lose-lose situation. And at least to me, it kind of feels like there's a little bit more pressure on Bitcoin than I thought there was. They talked about basically, at least from my understanding of it and trying to talk about at a high level view, is that there are Bitcoin, you know, they lives in wallets and stuff like that, whatever. Some of the owners, they lose their wallets, whether that be the person that famously was like trying to search through a trash dump for years and years to find their wallet. The owners, whoever, they die and they don't share access to their private keys anywhere. So between that, there's a large sum of Bitcoin. I believe it's like 8% of the total supply that, or something like that. That's just right, locked up. And when it comes to the quantum threat, people always talk about this, the perspective of like quantum computing being able to break something within the protocol that essentially, like, if someone gets access to like the public keys or whatever, that they can also get access to private keys and that they could essentially steal your Bitcoin. And people talk about potential upgrades to the protocol to help prevent this or whatever. But what that doesn't address is this lost Bitcoin, because people will not be able to upgrade it themselves because it's like no one really has like claim over it. And there's talks about what to do in terms of just like letting it be what it is, or doing some sort of like upgrade. Am I freezing at all, by the way, or am I good?
Man. Sounds good. Video's a little choppy, but you're good.
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Yeah, but to do nothing, or to like, I don't know if it's like fork the network and make some sort of like upgrade to help protect this lost Bitcoin. But there's the two problems with that is, one, if you do nothing, then you're creating this sell pressure of 8% of, you know, Bitcoin supply, and then, you know, it's going to cause a whole cascade. It's gonna be a whole thing. Or two, if you upgrade and like fork the network or whatever it is, it kind of puts into question the whole thesis behind Bitcoin, because the whole kind of point of Bitcoin is that like it's not controllable, it's not like centralized, it's kind of an escape from that. And if you're doing this, even though if it's in good faith, it kind of, it questions the thesis of like Bitcoin. So I don't know. I thought that was an interesting topic, and I don't know what the right answer is. And while there still is time before quantum becomes a real threat, it is something that I found interesting in the report, the way they dived into it all.
Yep. It's a raging debate. And there's a really good episode of, there are several really good episodes of Unchained that talk about that too recently. Who's most well positioned for like the impending quantum future? The thing I hear, because the question we get all the time is like, hey, could quantum computing present a real threat to cryptocurrency? The answer is yes, but most experts agree that it's not a realistic or credible threat at this time, and that it is most likely that not just Bitcoin, but Bitcoin, ETH, and everybody who is quantum vulnerable will become quantum resistant. I think if I had to place a bet on it, I think ETH is going to do it first. Bitcoin seems to be doing some waffling about like just getting its poop in a group and upgrading the protocol, which is good. We want Bitcoin to be slow to upgrade, but I expect that one major chain will do it, and then everybody else will kind of be like, oh, great, they did it. We can do it too. Follow suit. It'll be easier, even though it's different. So good takeaways. Alex, do you have questions for our intrepid friend?
No, I haven't read the thesis yet, so I'm interested.
It's good, and the shortcut is to go to your favorite podcast app and just search Masari Theses, and they have longer episodes, but still shorter than reading the whole report. Discussions of all the major stuff. It's very
I like to read it first and then get my summaries and my analysis and synopses later.
Okay, if you have got a final question, suggestion, a good joke, a word of wisdom, or something else before we ride our dogs and ponies into the sunset, then let us know. Alex, I'm curious to know if you've got any homework for Matthew before he leaves us today.
I got to talk about my ABCs, man. I don't know if I have time for that today, but yeah.
That's all I'm saying is I did give Matt a homework assignment and hasn't been done yet. So
it wasn't the Katana. It was
it was FHE
zero knowledge HME.
ZK.
Yep. Yeah, I would say I don't know if we have time to talk about it on the show today, but
he escapes again.
Okay, so you got to come back and talk to us about fully homomorphic encryption and all the other amorphic encryptions that exist. I think that's enough to be going on with. He just had spring break.
Excuses.
Matthew, was there anything else?
There is something else I wanted to touch on about the report.
Please
take it away.
I thought it so. Oh gosh, yeah. Sorry, my audio is getting a little messed up. But if I'm still here, then I'll just start talking. As kind of like not a counterpoint, but to what they talk about. Okay, so Bitcoin, you have these questions with quantum. It's like, all right, so how can layer ones kind of capture value from that? Because they're more I don't know, willing to make changes to like the protocols and stuff like that. So when talking about, then it transitioned into the value of Ethereum, which has been a topic of conversation, I feel like, for a while. And honestly, like, is something we talk about. Is like, how do you value L1s? How do you value these tokens? I know, Alex, you talk about revenue a lot and stuff like that. But it kind of seems to me like that is not almost like not an appropriate way to value cryptos in the perspective of like, how are they valued? And they are valued a lot in terms of just monetary premium compared to revenues. Because if you look at overall like revenues from fees and stuff like that, it's just progressively been going down. And I think it makes sense too. And it's kind of funny as we talk about how like we want cheaper and cheaper gas fees and stuff like that. It's like, well, that creates like less and less revenue for like the protocols and stuff like that. And well, they talked about in the report how like kind of the idea behind Ethereum was that like with how much it would be used, how much it would be burned, that would be like net deflationary, and that kind of creates value within the asset. But based off of how they're going as like an ecosystem, whatever you want to call it, that like that's not going to be realistic in terms of providing real value. And that essentially like with its price action and stuff like that, it's a higher beta Bitcoin in a sense, where it's very well correlated with Bitcoin. And right now, as ETH is still trying to figure out like, okay, what is its value? How do we value it? It is another store of value right now, essentially. Even though we think of Ethereum, like we use Ethereum for transactions, you actually have to own it compared to like layer 2 tokens. Like as I question, like, okay, like Polygon, for example, like why should I have Pol? Like it doesn't really do anything for me. Like you do need Ethereum in order to like transact on blockchains and stuff like that. But the fees earned and the revenues and the burning and stuff like that, it doesn't create value. Kind of like, at least how I kind of thought like, okay, Ethereum can be this like, we think of like net deflationary, like you have to actually use it, like there's real use to it. Okay, that'll drive price up. And that isn't really like that hasn't been happening, and based off the ways they described it, it isn't really realistic for that to happen. So I don't know. ETH right now is kind of like it is just like a store of value, and it is a little bit different to Bitcoin, as like, again, like it's easier to be quantum resistant, like, or to, from the perspective of like to make changes and stuff like that. So it was interesting the way they talked about ETH, and then other layer ones. The only other notable layer one that they talked about was Zcash and kind of the whole privacy thing. And through researching all like the zero knowledge, like the FHE, PM, whatever the acronyms, that like I think privacy is the next big thing for crypto in terms of protection. And it's kind of funny hearing Will earlier talk about just like the pendulum of like, okay, well, like what happens when the people try and like get back at the government? It's like, well, they literally talked on the report, just whether it was like, I think it was Nigeria was one of the examples, Canada was one of them, where it's like if you rebel or like protesting, like they'll freeze your bank accounts and stuff like that. You won't be able to transact. And even like with crypto wallets, it's like they'll be able to be like, okay, you can't do this, but Zcash and privacy can actually like act as like a way that prevents them from doing that. And it's kind of an out on that. And even with Bitcoin right now, it's kind of scary to think that like they said 24% of the supply of Bitcoin could be like, or is like custodian, is under like a custodian right now. So if the US government did what they did in the 1900s, where they essentially seized all gold and was like, hey, give us all your gold, but we'll give you like some paper value back for it or whatever, like they could do that with Bitcoin right now. If they ordered like Coinbase, BlackRock, stuff like that, like they could do that right now. And there wouldn't be anything we could do about it. Like legally, these companies would have to comply, versus Zcash, a privacy coin, and like it wouldn't be possible to do something like that. So Zcash has been treated almost as a hedge, a complementary hedge with Bitcoin. And I think privacy, as it becomes to be more applicable to blockchains and just transactions in general, I think that is the next big thing that also, when you talk about institutions, like stuff like that, will make them want, because they're not going to want all their stuff to be public too. So I think that's the next big thing that's going to happen.
Was it Mert, Alex, you might know this, who said Bitcoin is the hedge against cash? I don't think it was Mert. And cash is, or Bitcoin is the hedge against cash, and Zcash is the hedge against Bitcoin.
Yeah,
and that's what he was referring to, was this idea that if somebody were to do that, that it would be really tough to resist in a world where governments have so much power and know everything about you and that kind of thing. So it's a really good point.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, I'm right there with you. Privacy is becoming increasingly more and more important, especially as more and more governments begin to realize that, hey, we're less and less cool with the heinous shit that they're doing all the time.
Yeah. So I'd be curious if Zcash I don't know if Zcash is going to, they kind of mentioned that because their price went up crazy, but I'm curious what who the leaders will be in that, and how that kind of will play out. Because people in the crypto space, they're going to want to speculate with price action. It's kind of funny because like I feel like the goal of privacy isn't necessarily to like find some token that its price is going to go like super high up. Like, I don't know. I don't think the goal is to like win the casino based off of get like privacy becoming a thing. The point is for like privacy to help everything else. So I'm curious what the leaders are in that space are going to be, and what that's going to look like. So yeah, well, I don't know, but yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some casino stuff to go on with that, just like always. Layer twos. So I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's pretty hard to argue with the thesis that if privacy is the narrative that you're pushing, that Ethereum will not be king of that narrative too, just because that's where more of the building will take place.
You said will not be?
Will be.
Yeah, will be.
Yeah, it would be hard to say it won't be.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, so I think that is, again, like bullish for Ethereum. Very bearish on L2s after, at least their tokens, based off of the report. It's kind of funny how when I first started crypto, kind of like you guys would say like all roads lead to Bitcoin in terms of investing. And it's just more and more true. I feel less and less incentivized to buy an L2 token, because I'm really just like, what do these things do at all? Like that I mean, the stuff themselves, it's like, yeah, it's great. Like they can provide, like they do what they need to do, but it's like, these tokens. I'm like, what? Like, why would I buy any of this? Like, the performance has been terrible, even though it's like their metrics have been great. I mean, it was talked about even with I don't know if it was like Solana, but even, and well, I guess that's an L1, but still just like altcoins in general, like the stuff, the growth Solana did, but even like its outperformance by Bitcoin, it should have been way larger compared to like the metrics and stuff it was doing. So I don't know. I think all roads lead to Bitcoin is what I'm learning. But in terms of L2s, I think Robinhood with their chain, I think that is the only kind of big disruptor in terms of like what could be doing crazy things. I know people have talked about Mega ETH, and I'm sure it could do great.
I would say Stripe. Tempo is right there too.
Tempo.
Is Tempo technically, is that one of the stable chains though? Tempo?
No, it's Stripe's chain. I mean, when you say a stable chain, I'm not sure I'm familiar with that term.
Like Plasma, the roll-up has a pretty good coverage on Tempo recently.
Yeah.
It's yet to be seen really what it's going to do, but they say the blockchain for payments at scale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Via stablecoins.
I think, Robinhood's, if Robinhood is serious about creating an L2 or whatever it is and being involved with on-chain, I think they could take over in this space. Just seeing how well Base does, and it is interesting seeing like the Optimism super chain, just like all the key players, all the L2s on it. That Base is taken over in terms of just like growth and all this kind of stuff, and it is just purely because of their connection with Coinbase. And the partnership with Morpho they did on Coinbase, it's interesting. Well, when you look at the stablecoin market cap, Arbitrum still leads just because they do a lot of deals with HyperLiquid, like all the USD on USDC or US dollars on HyperLiquid kind of come from Arbitrum. But when you look at the DeFi TVL, Base has the most share of it, and like a lot of that comes from just the direct partnership with like Morpho on Coinbase's interface. There's almost $1 billion, which is like 90 directly from the Coinbase integration. 90% of Base's TVL on Morpho comes directly from that, and it's like a quarter of their TVL. And that's a competitive advantage that no one else in the L2 space has. Only they can, and I think Robinhood is the only one that can challenge that.
I'd be curious to know who has more users, Robinhood or Facebook, because that's the other big moat that Facebook has is Facebook.
Facebook has more than all of them combined.
You know what I mean? Coinbase versus Robinhood, who has more users? I would imagine it's Robinhood users versus Robinhood. But that's going to be the thing. And I did verify that Tempo is the one where the fees can be paid in stable coins, gas fees, USDC. Oh, come on.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think Robinhood has an advantage over Coinbase. I mean, we all know the sentiment around the Coinbase commercial for Super Bowl. I don't know. And when I think of Robinhood, like, it didn't have the greatest reputation when it came out of the whole GameStop stuff, but still, it's like, when I'm at school, my professors are like, does anyone like, they're talking about like investing and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, does anyone have a Robinhood account? Like, no one's asking, oh, do you have a Coinbase account? And like a lot of people use Robinhood. And I think if they stay ahead of the game with tokenized equities and as Will was talking about, I think equity perps, and they were talking about this in the report, I think equity perps will be really big. Options trading, 0 date to expiration options trading is kind of like the equity version of like super leverage, basically for crypto. And the amount of activity for 0 date to expiration options has been going crazy high. So I think it shows that perps are way more easy to understand, like, and retail loves their perps. So I think if Robinhood can get ahead of the game on that, I think that space could take off. Because there's just the tweet that like the highest, what was it, like it was on HyperLiquid, like the highest traded things were like oil, gold, and silver future, like not even crypto stuff. So I think that's another big thing that they talked about there, that whoever gets ahead of the game there is going to have a big advantage. And I think Robinhood naturally has that advantage. So I think it just depends how badly they want it. How bad do they want it? So.
Yeah, well, we'll see. So the interesting stats here is that on paper, according to the platforms, Coinbase has more users, but the user number doesn't mean as much as the way Robinhood reports funded accounts. And as far as like monthly transacting users that actually fund an account on both platforms, Robinhood dwarfs Coinbase by more than 4 to 1.
Yeah.
No, sorry, more than 3 to 1, almost 4 to 1. 27 million to 8 point something million. So there she blows.
Yeah, but Coinbase is the world's leading custodian of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Mostly the ETF issuers, they use Coinbase for their custody. And even though the user base of active users is smaller, Coinbase, it's a specialized native crypto exchange. Their crypto volume in 2024, that's the last year we have numbers, is 221 billion versus Robinhood's 143 billion. So it's a really interesting, they both have advantages. It should be a good fight is what I mean to say. Not that I want anybody who's a big conglomerate megacorp to win.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know.
So
Well,
the thing that pops into my head is we're talking about these L2s and stuff, and I know we're well over time here, but we can put a pin in this for tomorrow. Inc is the sleeper for me. I am so nosy as to why, because by all accounts, Inc should be up there in the top 10 as far as TVL and activity, whatever. Because while Kraken is smaller than Coinbase in terms of users and annual revenue and all that sort of stuff, you still do have that absolutely gargantuan partner to an ecosystem like you have with Base, with Kraken and Inc. And I'm so curious about it, just because it doesn't make any sense to me that I don't see more about that ecosystem floating around, the same way that I do with Base. And so I'm very curious to see how that one goes. I mean, one of the reasons that I've been so aggressively pursuing trying to onboard Kraken as a partner here is because of that in particular. Is you've got all the pieces are there, and the thing that's missing for me is the story. And it's like, okay, so what do we have to do here to turn this part up? Because like by all accounts, the things being offered are just as good, if not better, in many respects. The experience. My mom texted me yesterday. She's like, "You got to tell those people at Kraken that this is really great. I really like this and that. I mean, every little thing about it." And I'm like, I'll let them know. I'm trying to figure out why they don't want to tell more people about it in like a more interesting, helpful way. Because I mean, man, Coinbase is beating that drum, and there's a reason that they are maintaining their dominance in that space. And I don't think it's necessarily, it's not justified to me. I don't think that it's that much better. I don't think it's better in general. So I'm very nosy about that, considering especially where L2s are at right now, being kind of rough. And I'm wondering if that's what contributes to it, is like, user sentiment around Inc is bad. So maybe that's it, but curious.
Yeah. Base accounts for 82% of the OP Superchain's TVL, and Inc is 5.7%, which is still second place. But yeah, Base is way ahead of Inc for whatever
Inc
reason.
is in second place on the super chain.
Yep. I mean it's not like they're ahead by that much, but yeah.
Inc has
but that's
almost $500 million TVL, which is not nothing. I mean, they're on the top banner, but it's not, it's not in the billions. I'm just saying
man.
What
yeah, but who else is on the super chain? That's optimism, arbitrism.
Arbitrism.
That's when you got autism about arbitrum, optimism, arbitrum, OP, and what? ZK? Are the ZK Sync or the super? Oh man,
Arbitrum's separate, from.
I think so.
Chain.
Yeah, you're right. And Base is trying to strike out and do their own thing. They're saying we don't need you guys.
Yep.
I don't know,
I mean, it's still there for now, but I mean, if I was Base, I would too. If you're accounting for so much of it,
yeah.
So I don't know.
Absolutely.
L2 land is certainly an interesting place, and they're talking about in the report all these individual things, and I'm like, well, that's cool you guys are building, but it's like not really translating into anything, so I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, let's do this. let's do a round of final thoughts before we ride our dogs and ponies off into the sunset. And what I'm going to say is, if you are listening to this show and you don't have a comment that you can get on the screen or that you can get answered, you know it. You got to go to community.rumshq.com on the screen. Over here, I was throwing up some QR codes. Everybody was catching it. I threw the different camera angle up so I could put up our little QR codes for the mug. Bearded says he needs the first edition. Jeff Rascal says, can we pre-order the third edition? I think we might have to get a third edition mug. And Bearded, I will get you a first edition mug because it's just that cool. The last QR code I got to flash, and I can't do it on TikTok. I don't know why. They absolutely are just driving me nuts.
I don't know how to sell this thing.
Is the Arculus wallet. If you are looking for cold storage, my friend, look no further than the official cold storage sponsor of Rise Up Media, the Arculus wallet. I want you to know we get direct messages from pretty much everybody except Ledger, because Ledger is that's just how they are. They're too good to message anybody directly.
They're too busy leaking your data
and building inferior products, if I'm being completely honest. I am a Ledger user. I was a long time Ledger user. Let me get this off your face, Matt. I changed over to the Arculus wallet when I found how easy it was to use and that it didn't compromise security. I think the Arculus wallet is more secure, certainly for me, because of how there is no firmware upgrade required. There's no need to charge a battery. The app they have for it is an app on your phone. And because they give you a seed phrase, because they prize self-custody, you never have to worry. What if Arculus or CompoSecure, their giant New York Stock Exchange listed parent company, goes out of business? You just take your seed phrase and go somewhere else.
You know,
yes.
I love you dearly, as we all know. And I appreciate your commitment to offering a soundingly or a seemingly unbiased opinion of this by, stating that for you. But just for the record, this sponsorship, the partnership that we have with Arculus, is not because they slid into the DMs and we were like, sure, we'll take the money. We aggressively pursued them for quite some time because we think it's the best one. And I mean, I've used a multitude of these wallets. I'm personally interested in trying more hardware wallets.
Me too.
There are so many I've never tried before. And I mean, everything that I'm experimenting with is benchmarking against my experience with Arculus. I would, run the same, like a side-by-side comparison, be like, okay, which one is the easiest? Sure, for me. For your standard user to be able to quickly do the thing it's supposed to do for me, and how do I feel about it, and who's got the track record, and that's literally all I care about. I'm very comfortable doing this show and not getting paid. We did that for many years. So, the reason that anyone that we platform is platformed here is because we're going after them. The people who slide into the DMs and ask for, sponsorship and partnership and buying videos and all that kind of crap, I don't even reply to them anymore. None of them. I don't think I've gotten a single interesting one in years that I was like, oh man, I can't believe they reached out. It's like, no, we're out there chasing them down because it's good.
Yeah.
So
we had a couple of questions come in that'll allow us to testify. My battery is so dead in my Ledger. Is that easy to change?
No.
Sorry to tell you, but
no, you have to get a new one.
It's not. You got to get a new one. That's how they designed it. If it's no longer charging or holding a charge, you're going to have to get a new one. I'm sorry to tell you.
Right there is an example of this. Came up on Trust Issues last week. I was talking to Colleen, not Trust Issues, but I'm going to bring it up today. I was like, hey, what do you do about the fact that we're constantly being squeezed more and more and more to buy more stuff? And I believe it was France. Shout out France. Someone fact check me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. I think France just banned planned obsolescence with tech, which is this idea that I think that by itself, oh my God, what a difference that would make. If the United States wanted to do something that genuinely helps the everyday person, ban planned obsolescence because it's horse shit. And Ledger is a perfect example because Ledger just joined the planned obsolescence party by rotating firmware support out for original ledgers, meaning you have to get rid of it and buy a new one. And that's why they do it. That's why your cell phone breaks every 2 years, when by all accounts it should last significantly longer. Blah 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 blah. Cars are the same thing. Everything. So there you go. That's another big thing. Planned obsolescence is not a thing with this card.
Yeah. There's another good question about whether or not you can use it with a laptop from Rage and Cajun. And the answer is yes, but not necessarily in the way you think. You would still need your phone. Arculus is a mobile first wallet. It uses
Near-field
NFC
communication. Yeah.
Yep, to tap, just like you do when you tap to pay with your credit card to establish a secure connection and verify your private key without revealing it. Your phone is like the caller, and the key is the responder on your wallet. The way you would do it with a laptop is you'd use Wallet Connect on a website like Uniswap or Aave or whatever you want to connect to, OpenSea. And then you would scan the QR code with the Arculus mobile app, and you'd still need to tap it to your phone. It is not only going to work with your laptop device. One last question before we end the Arculus commercial. I want to know, they say, this is Terry, can you type how to get the Arculus so I can snapshot it? Somebody help me in the comments and type getarculus.com or type at This is Arculus. That's their handle on every social, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. You can buy directly from TikTok Shop, for example, at that handle, at This is Arculus, or getarculus.com. And the code, don't forget this, somebody type this for me, please, ARCURUMS10 will get you 10% off your order. They also have military discounts and often have seasonal deals too, so you can get a wallet totally regular anytime for $99, $89 with our code, even less. I've seen people get these wallets for like $60 when they stack discounts. So check them out. And thanks to Arculus for being the official cold storage sponsor of Rise Up Media. We absolutely love what they do. And we're going to see them at Consensus, aren't we?
Yes.
It's going to be great. If you've got other cold storage questions, I'm going to be doing a live this Saturday, a dedicated live to walk people through how to set up Arculus wallets, how to use cold storage well, how to determine which cold storage wallet is the best for you. I'm probably going to do it sometime in the afternoon US, like 2 to 4 p.m. Central. I will post about it in the community. I'll continue to advertise it all week, but we've got a great week of shows. We've got tomorrow and Thursday morning shows. We've got Trust Issues tonight. We've got Rise Up After Dark tomorrow. And you can find all our episodes wherever you are, whenever you listen, at community.rumshq.com. Just send us a message there. Say, hey, how do I get your episodes on Facebook or Apple or whatever? And I'm going to be giving, this is my last thing, and then I'm done. You guys take it away. I'm going to be giving away my VCAT rewards that you saw here. All $160 of them, if they maintain their value, to people like Exit Velo who leave reviews on Apple Podcasts. I've decided that's what I care about. So if you want $5, $10, or if the token tanks 100 tokens, then get at me. I got 16,000 of these little buggers. Yeah, and surely I can make it worth your time. You can find us at the Rise Up Morning Show on Apple Podcasts or wherever you are, whenever you listen. Guys, have you got a final thought? I'm done talking. Somebody ride me out of here. Matthew, you're the guest. You go first, brother.
All right. My final thought. Let's see. Well, like it or hate it, like crypto, hate it. It's the future. The technology of it is the future. Blockchain technology is the future. So your favorite banks, JP Morgan, BlackRock, Citi, they're all building on it. They're all, trying to figure it out. So you might as well adapt as well, even if you don't like it. So that's my final
Your
thought.
favorite, did you just say the phrase, your favorite banks?
Well, some people, listen, non-crypto people love their banks for some reason. So that's a message to them.
I forgot to tell you guys, I had a dream last night where Alex, you and I you confronted me because we had a couple new partners. We had sponsors, and one of them was like GMC Bank or something. It was like a mega bank, and I was doing the commercials for them on the show, and I was like,
"Good Lord!"
I said it's a big bank. if
imagine?
that's your thing and you need a big bank, I guess they're fine. And they were like talking to us afterwards, like, Evan, you can't read our sponsorship this way. And I was like, what do you want me to do? It's a big bank.
This is
It's
what
fine.
Evan has nightmares about, being sponsored by things he hates.
Yeah, I was like, whatever, they're going to take your KYC. The terms are probably restrictive, but if you need a big bank, I guess they're fine. That was the commercial.
Bearish.
Alex, what about you, man?
So for my final thought, I will share the nuance of the day, because this is interesting and I had never thought about it this way, but I saw a video about it and I did some digging. So I want to preface this by saying we are all rightfully, if you are concerned about this, you are rightfully and justifiably concerned about the water usage with data centers. And it's continuing to grow. It is continuing to cause problems that will become harder and harder to ignore, especially in what are regarded as fringe cities, or cities like off the beaten path a little bit, that we just love to forget about. Corpus Christi, Texas is really going through it. There are major water problems brewing there. They're not the only ones. But the thing that I was seeing is that basically, most of this is being attributed to AI and the growth of AI conversations, which is leading to the building and construction of new data centers. But interestingly, a 5-hour conversation with your favorite LLM uses about the same amount of water as a 5-hour stream on a streaming service like Netflix, for example. And the overwhelming majority of data centers support cloud storage and video streaming, especially because we are now streaming in 1080, 4K, whatever. And we're streaming a lot more. Most people on average use streaming services and cloud storage services way more than they use AI. The concern with AI is the rate of growth and amount of water usage per query. But it's very interesting to do a little bit of reading into this and kind of think about it. If you are someone who is like really upset about the emergence of AI and the water consumption, again, I would say you are rightfully upset. But if we appreciate the nuance of the situation and look at the entire picture as it stands, way more water is used to run things like Netflix and Prime Video and Disney and all that sort of stuff than is being used to run your favorite LLM.
Very good fact check. Very good fact check. Okay, we got to go. That's the show. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, monsters and machines, for being the very best part of what we do. One more time, community.rumshq.com. The only thing missing is you. And we'll see you back here tomorrow for more morning show. Until then, everybody, stay safe, be well.